Okay, we are live, and back again. You work too much. I'm pretty sure you do. Um, doesn't matter if you're a student, if you're in school, or if you just, you know, you have a job. I think you work too much. I think we work too much, and I'm going to talk about that. We will have as usual, just an informal chat about that. And we're going to tone things down a little bit because people get so upset with the politics and all of that. And, and I don't really find it that interesting. So, yeah, enough about that. Um, Well, you could say this kind of touches upon the politics of things because we live in a society that has become the way it is, and that is why we work too much. Eddie, good to see you. KP Heathen as well. Orochi Fox, greetings to you and everyone here. I want to just give it a few seconds so that people can join the chat. And while I do that, I will say that a common criticism when I talk about this, and I have done so, and I've touched upon it on my main channel, possibly here as well, is that, well, you are out there making YouTube videos, so you're working. Um, And yeah, good point, but also, um, you know, I enjoy being out in the woods, which actually, I there was this hit piece, and I made a video about that as well, where they said something along the lines of, "Oh, that's a facade, you're doing that to." What was it? Shoehorn red pill advice. No, that's not why. I just like being out in the woods. And I think that's where we belong, out in nature. So why don't we spend more time in nature then? Okay, so first of all, yes, I get it. We have to work. We have to get an income to put food on the table. But if we look at things like objectively, to the best of our abilities, isn't it crazy? And this has gotten much worse. What I'm going to say now, it's much worse now. Young people today have it much more difficult than I did, and my parents' generation had it easier than my generation. You have to work all of your life, well, your adult life, and what do you get in return? Now there are educated people saying that there's a chance that those who are young now will not get a pension when they get to a certain age. Okay, so because it won't add up, because of we're not in most developed countries now. There aren't born enough kids, so the population is getting older, so it won't add up. Okay, um, and you won't be able to save up enough money to buy your own home, like a house or a flat. Um, what are you working for? And it's only those fortunate few who have parents who are able to and willing to, because there are lots of selfish parents out there, willing to give money to their kids. Only those kids, like kids, I mean, when I say kids here, it's like the 20 something, 20-year-olds and so on. Only those who will be able to buy their own flat and get into the property market. So what are you working for? And also we moved from from an existence where one income was sufficient to a system where both the mother and the father in the family, they need to work, both of them, to make ends meet. And you could say that, well, it's obviously a good thing that women um, became well, the idea is that became financially independent, but they didn't, and neither was the men, because you're dependent on the state and the bank because you have a mortgage. But anyway, at least women are became more independent when it comes to were not financially tied to the husband so much. And I know that some people want to go back to that, but I think then you're forgetting how it used to be, which was not good. So it's good that we got that kind of independence and equality between men and women. But also, what we did get was a system where both parents work, and that kind of what's the word, you like you do with your car, you jack up your car. Is that what you say? The level was moved up when it comes to prices of flats and houses and so on, gradually. And then taxes were increased and increased gradually, increased more. It was, we live in a society where there are taxes in everything, and some of them are hidden, and it's ingrained in the economy. Um, and and we have ended up in a system where you have to work really hard to make ends meet and to have a good life. That's the idea, which is very different from how it should be. And I'll get to the chat in a moment. Here's how it should be. We should work or do sensible stuff 3 to 4 hours per day, something like that. If we look at hunter-gatherers, that's basically how much they work, and we shouldn't work more than that. And I don't think we should work every day either. I think we should have a focus on things we enjoy doing, which for most people would be spending time out in nature, being active, being healthy, taking care of your kids, taking care of yourself, being you know doing your hobbies and traveling and walking, running, whatever. That's how it should be. And I think that if we went back to that, we would have a much healthier and better society. And I also think that there's a term, bullshit jobs. I'll just throw this out there, okay? I think a lot of people are working bullshit jobs. They're not really doing anything useful, and they know it. But they have to do it because they have to get that paycheck. Um, and I am fortunate myself. I'm fortunate because I've been a novelist. That's my job. I've been a novelist my entire adult life. Um, and it's very meaningful, obviously. But not everyone can have a job that they like. And I will add this to the whole discussion. There is a danger in having a job that you really like, that you're passionate about. And most people, they don't realize this, but the danger is that you can easily work yourself into the grave because you love what you're doing, so you want to do it more. You can burn out, and it is painful and possibly very dangerous. When that happens, it can kill you. So yeah, I think that my statement in the title, "You work too much," is probably true for most people. And we have ended up in this kind of strange world where we have to work and work and work. And when you listen to these politicians, and I despise them in general, they are expecting you to work more. Now, what they're saying here in Norway now is that, well, you should work until you're 70. I know, it's no, no, I'm 52 now, and I think that's a good age for retiring. If you have worked yourself into, well, not into the grave, but if you have worked really, really hard your entire adult life and you're in your 50s, you should be able to retire. I mean, honestly, it's if you keep going, if I keep going like this, I hate to be a little bit personal here, but if I keep going like this for 10 more years, I'll be an old man, not because of the years, but because I think the next 10 years, I can't work at this rate and this pace. It's just, it wouldn't be, it's not sensible to do that. Um, and what people are saying, people working with investments, retirement funds, and how to set up things financially for yourself and your family and so on, they are all saying that in your 50s, that's when you should aim to retire. In your 50s. And these politicians are now saying 70. I'm going to use the bad word here again. Well, screw them, you know? So, yeah, now I love what I'm doing. So I guess in my case, my challenge is to, I don't view YouTube as work. Um, if I was chasing the algorithm and all that, it would be work, I guess. But I'm not doing that. Um, and I love writing, of course, but I need to. Yeah, enough about me. So yeah, let's have a discussion about this. Yeah, I just want to say that you should aim to retire in your 50s, and retirement doesn't need to be, and it shouldn't be just sitting down doing nothing. If you want to do some work, just because you want to, then you should do that, but you should have a different focus from that age and so on. Let's see. Yes, there is also Uval, this thing where you see that people who retire, many of them, they die shortly after that. So clearly, some people are. I think what goes into that statistic is that a lot of people who retire early, or people who retire in general, they're forced to do that because of ill health. So that's kind of explains some of that. But also some people, they just sit down, they have no passion anymore, they do nothing, and that can kill people. Okay. So do you have a housing crisis in Norway? So that's somewhat related to this. And yes, we do. So that means that if you bought a house or a flat some years ago, that purchase have made you very rich. But then again, if you sell it and you want to buy something similar, it evens out because everything has become more expensive. Unless you move out in the countryside, of course, then that would be more affordable. I'll just scroll up a little bit. Yeah, it's an early morning. I sometimes wake up like 3 or 4. If I had a good workout the evening before in the gym, and I don't know why, but then I wake up very early sometimes. Yeah, Carl says the sooner you start investing, even small amounts, the sooner the better. It's because of the magic of compounding. So you won't see, and you see people making some mistakes here when it comes to that. They look at their savings, and it doesn't matter because I'm never getting rich this way. But it's after 20 years. It's a. Yeah, I won't get into that, but yeah, we should all save. Let's see. There's a super chat here. That's wonderful. Luke, thank you. Thoughts: financial capitalism versus industrial capitalism. Have you watched Return to the Land by Asha Logos or Return to the Land Ozarks? No, I don't know about those or what it is. So I can't respond to that in a good way. I'm sorry. Now, oops. Now this is, I don't know why they do this. Sometimes when I click here, and there have been people who got really mad at me, it's easy to remove or put user in timeout. Where do I click now? Outside here. Oops. Oh, okay. Yeah. If that has happened to you, I'm really sorry. Let's see here. Oops. There was another super chat, I think. Did I miss it? Oh, Luke. Oh, yeah. Financial capital versus industrial capital. Okay. Yeah. One comment here by Orochi Fox. We, specifically of the Western nations, have inherited the caste of peasants of the prior Middle Ages. The global South has inherited the caste of serfs as majority rule without wage. Now, and under there, no, I didn't say women are the problem. I didn't say that. But yeah, it's interesting because the same thing that made us, we need to go back in history a little bit to understand why we ended up like this. we have to go back to the Germanic tribes. This is not going to take long. So if we go back to the Germanic tribes, that's where our what has later been called the Judeo-Christian tradition. It's really about the Germanic tribes. That mentality was molded by a very top-down, cruel kind of society where you had the king, and you had the king saying that I'm king because God wants me to be king, and so on. And you're peasants, with people being serfs. They were not slaves, but also they couldn't really own land. So that kind of mentality then became, with industrialization, the idea that you go to the factory and you work, and then you had a work week. Was that Henry Ford that introduced it? But anyway, it's been seen as virtuous to struggle, to not to struggle, but to toil, like Victor Hugo, Toilers of the Sea, wonderful book, by the way. To toil and to by the sweat of your brow, and so on. You should make a living, and so on. And that has been harnessed, and that has been used, and that has shaped us and made us successful as a culture. And it's been called the Judeo-Christian mentality, or the way of life, you could say. It's not really about Christianity, but that's what I'm talking about here. I think we need to get out of that. I think that it is not a good way of living. It might have been useful in the past, but it's not good for us. Now, I don't want to come across as a hippie or anything like that. Well, actually, the hippies, they were not that bad, except for the drugs, of course. But we need to get a little bit more into hugging the trees and doing things that are not seen as useful. If you know what I'm saying, it's oh yeah, the Protestant work ethic. I should have mentioned that. Does not exist anymore in Scandinavia. Well, I can tell you it absolutely exists. And I know some victims of that. But okay, so yeah, we need to get back to hugging the trees, lying in a hammock, and we need to learn the art of doing nothing. So because this is something I'm struggling with myself, because I grew up, my generation, Gen X, we were not supposed to have feelings. We were supposed to just do. And maybe with the last generation brought up with this work ethic idea. I don't know. But it's not, it's something we're being used. That's what I'm trying to say. We are being used. We're being used. And lately, this again, a little bit personal, but I have started doing meditation half an hour twice a day. And it is, I can feel the changes. It is really good. And I had to do that. That was actually prescribed for me. Can you believe it? But yeah, because you have to force yourself out of that out of that trap, where you work, and when you have a problem, you think that just working more will solve the problem. It's probably not going to solve the problem. The main reason for that is taxes. And also, um, the idea that we bring up our kids with the same idea, they do that in school. I think that there is much too pressure on the kids from an early age, and I'm very much against that. But okay. Mr. Sorpos, yes, sitting in the woods, maybe by a lake, just listening to nature, does that count as sort of meditation? I think so. Yeah, now I'll just scroll up a little bit again. Yeah, we were raised by workaholic parents. So, yeah, Guru says work is important. Yeah, work is important. But should you spend your entire life working? Is that how it's supposed to be? I don't think so. I think that there needs to be an imbalance. People say work-life balance. And there's this funny guy. He's a comedian, but he's like this guru. I'm sure you've seen him. Indian guy, I think, with sunglasses, sitting by a stream. And he says, fuck work-life balance. There should be an imbalance. Because life matters much more than work. So it shouldn't be balanced. It should be focused mainly on your life and quality of life. So yeah. What's his name? Do you know his name? He's I'm sure you've seen him. It's very funny. Well, no, it's not Sadhguru. It's a comedian. But anyway, now we need to talk also about consumerism. Okay. I think, and this is obvious, right? People who get trapped by the idea of consumerism, or the idea that you need to go to that concert, you need to buy that new smartphone, you need to have a new car, you need this, you need that, you need to go out to eat, all of that is, well, that's consumerism. And people are always saying, I can't save money. And then they go out and they buy coffee at every morning. And then there is, you're being ridiculed if you say that, well, if you put that money for that coffee every day in an investment fund, if you do that, I'm going to say it now, if you do that, it's going to compound and it's going to become quite a lot of money, but it takes time. So that's why people are, making fun of that. Oh, I can't save money. It won't be enough. Well, we're not talking about in 10 years' time. We're not talking about that coffee that you didn't buy every morning and you saved it instead. You put it in an investment fund. We're not saying that it's going to be enough to buy a house in 10 years' time. No, we're saying that that could be an investment fund for you in 50 years. 50, not 10. So that's where the compounding comes in. So, but anyway, the consumerism is something that it's in everything now. And like this platform and all the other platforms that I know of, and TV, I mean, how, and I'm guilty here because how am I making money? Okay, I'm not making so much money from the ads here, because you can look at the views, not so many views here. So I'm not making a lot of money, but there will be ads. Okay. Those ads are there because a company wants to sell you something that you probably don't need. Okay. So it's probably going to be crap. you know so that's consumerism. So yeah, I'm helping the consumerism talking about this now. Actually, I will say that it's not consumerism. Is like I did a video about, to my defense, about some African barefoot boots, on my Bjorn outdoors video. And I think that's very different, actually, because it's like, if you need a pair of boots, those will last a lifetime. And that's a good investment. Did an ad pop up when I said that? It's so if you buy a pair of boots and they will last a lifetime, that's probably a wise thing to do if you need boots, and that's why you're not going to see me promoting the latest Chinese crap product. But anyway, let's see here. Your $5 coffee will be worth $500 in 10 years, Carl. Think how much. No, that's so $5. We're not going to make the calculation here now, but that's, if you do that 5 times 5 days a week, 50, let's say 50 weeks a year. And then you're not taking the interest rate into account here, and the compounding effect of that, which you will see not the first year, not the second year, maybe the year 20, which is such a small amount. Let's see here. Okay, no, I don't think that. I'm not into the whole idea that we're being tricked and distracted, and well, of course, but that's not as it has always been. But we do that ourselves. That's what I'm trying to say. We are just animals, right? And we are easily, we go for the shiny things, right? That's what gets our attention. And it's not complicated. Also, there's a group dynamic in play here, which seems to affect people's choices. It's like, I think one good example in Norway is electric cars, which a lot of people love to hate, which I think is silly. But people here buy electric cars, and I think that, of course, there's a tax incentive there, but also there's a little bit of group dynamic going into the whole thing. People buy electric cars because other people do it, you know. Mm, and um, yeah, it's like keeping up with Jonas's. No, keeping up with what's that? Keeping up with neighbors. There's a name there that is used. Keeping up with the Jonases, isn't that what it is? Is it too early? Yeah, yeah. Which is silly, you know. Most people, and I'm going to tell you something that some of you will know, and this is new to some people. Um, Now, my boat is in a boatyard, okay? And in that boatyard, it is probably one of the very smallest boats there. The other boats are huge. So some of those people on those boats are much younger than I am. How can they afford that? How can they afford that? Now, you can debt, yes, yes. But even, I mean, we are talking boats, some of them, you wouldn't be able to buy them. You wouldn't be able to get such a loan. You wouldn't be able to do it. And I'm not going to claim that this goes for all of them or any of them, but I know for a fact that a lot of these items being bought, displays of wealth, expensive cars, and especially expensive boats, you know where it comes from? And this comes directly from the police here. Whitewashing money. Did you know that? Yeah, so drugs. Yeah. Whitewashing money. They get money from criminal activity into the non-criminal. Yeah, it's money laundering. Yeah. Again, I'm not claiming that those people in that boatyard, those boats, those owners are doing that. I don't know them, but we do know that a lot of the displays of wealth are because of laundering money, whitewashing money. This is a huge problem in our economy, actually. Now, um, less expensive stuff um, can also be displays of wealth, and it shouldn't be that way. I think it's stupid and silly. And yeah, yeah, Hotep, yes, knows what they are doing with some of those boats. Yeah. But these displays of wealth is displays of debt. Most people, very, very few people can just go out and buy stuff. And I know people who take pride in getting as much debt. And listen to what I'm saying now. They take pride in, and they will brag about getting as much debt as possible to buy a cabin up in the mountains. And they will tell you, and they will brag about not paying down that debt. They will only pay the interest rate, which is, you end up with nothing. You own nothing, and you leave nothing for the next generation that way. Um, and Abya Maya, I thought it was only a thing in my country, very bad. Well, it's all over the place. Because they can go bankrupt. Now, these are private, like not businesses, but people I know who do that. So yeah, Robert Kiyosaki, is that the rich dad poor dad guy? Yeah, he's in the debt. That kind of doing things where you don't. Well, it's all about debt, and it's a high risk investment scheme, which yeah, well, it's high risk. So if you want high risk, then that's how you do it. You know. Now the economy is tanking because of Trump's shenanigans, which means that you can keep buying. This is not financial advice, by the way. You can keep, but the way I'm thinking personally is that the stock market is priced very low now, so it's probably a good time to buy shares, maybe. But then again, this is not financial advice, and that would have to be a long-term investment plan. Now, thank you, Julia. Yeah, Carl, that is interesting. You're writing that eventually the bank has loaned you so much, you are too big to fail, so they have to keep you afloat in hopes of getting their money back. Yeah. So you're a slave, not you, but people in that position they are slaves to the banks. And we need to stop a little bit and think about that. People are debt slaves. Isn't that very, very similar to the medieval serfdom, SERF, where you didn't own anything? You didn't own your own land, but you had to work to make ends meet, but you couldn't own anything. Isn't it very similar what we're seeing now? You know? And yes, in my videos, Witty Mystic, yes, I termed it Feudalism 2.0, and I've talked about that on the main channel a couple of times. Well, no, we don't hate rich people or successful people. No. Not saying that, and I will add to that a lot of rich people, successful people, they are subject to a lot of envy, and I don't think that's fair, because I think a lot of rich people, they earned it. They've been intelligent. They have had the foresight to do the right things, and they should not be envied. But there's a difference when some wealthy people. We were talking about laundering money. Obviously, that's not good. Yeah. Carl, says we've gone from an ownership society to a nation of renters. Yes. Now, we could also talk about maybe this is because people were moved into the cities or more populated areas, or were partly forced to do that because of finding jobs and so on, which raised the property prices a lot. And so that also comes into play here. Yeah, Butterstuff says, I own my land, I own my house, I don't pay a mortgage. However, I pay a higher tax because of such. Yeah. Property tax should not be a thing. And there are, I think, almost all, what's the word, municipalities or counties in Norway have property tax now. And if I'm not mistaken, there is property tax in the entire USA, isn't it? I pay property tax here in this area. So and yeah, well, property tax in it's like I could move to an area in Norway with no property tax, but it's getting hard to find those places now. But I have to say that the property tax, in compared to all the other taxes I pay, it's not so much. But we shouldn't pay any property tax. Why would you have to? It's theft, right? You own your property. Why should you pay tax on that? Greedy bastards. So yeah, tax is also extremely important here. It comes into play here. And I was asked 2 years ago at the Bushcraft show in England, stage there, what do you see coming in the future? Like I'm some kind of oracle. And I answered with the most obvious thing I could, and that's, well, taxes will be increased. And yeah, and they have been, and they will be. I'm at the level now with taxation where I don't say yes. If someone asks me, will you come to this library and travel for a day and come here and talk about your novels, I'm probably going to say no, because I'm taxed at about 50% on that. And then I'm left with not enough to pay for, losing a day. And there was a question here, how would we fund the schools and roads and so on? Well, actually, in Norway, there's a book that was published a few weeks ago. An economist had looked at the numbers, and he said that we could, how was it? Yeah, he had been crushing the numbers, and we could pay no property tax. No income tax in Norway, nothing. And I think use a tiny little bit more of the oil money, and have the same welfare, same schools, same roads as we have now. I don't know if he took he probably did into the equation when people have more money, it drives up the inflation a little bit, okay? I haven't looked at the numbers, but I suppose he took that into account, since he is an economist. Um, let's see. I can't remember the name of that book now, but it's in Norwegian. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're talking economy now. So if you live in a high cost country, you have to have high wages, and the lowest wages need to be quite high, actually, or else people starve to death. You know. So that's why I saw yesterday's live stream, the comments there. Oh, Norway has tariffs. Norway has taxes on foreign goods and so on. Yeah, I should have said that. Yeah, because and that drives up the cost, of course. That's one of the reasons why things are so expensive in Norway, because of the protection of the farmers here, and they do that by tariffs. But the situation in the USA will be, you're going to have Norwegian prices, but with US wages, which is not a good thing. Yeah, I minimum wage is another thing. I think it's indecent to have a minimum wage that people can't survive on. It's just I I think employers paying people that little, they should be ashamed of themselves. Uh, yeah. Well, Eric, if you're a troll, don't be a troll. So yeah, no one wins. The tariff thing, yeah, no one wins. Of course, and there's been a big debate in Norway, that, I mean, we're paying a lot to protect the farmers here. Um, Eric says yes, since you said please. Did I say please? I didn't mean to say please. Sorry, I said please. Quit with the trolling now. So that's, yeah, it's driving up the cost of everything, those tariffs, and we are paying a high price to protect the farmers in Norway, and some people think that's not a good thing. I actually think it is a good thing, because we have quite with well, I think I'm going to be careful here, but I think that Norwegian goods, like Norwegian food, is healthy. It's cleaner than other foods. No, we also have subsidies. So the farmers are protected by the tariffs, and they get subsidies by the state, which then gets into the economy and the price. They're priced up. Let's leave that topic now. I'm not. Um, um, what's going on here now? Do we have a moderator here? I don't think there's any moderators here right now. Yeah. Okay. Now, so just to get back to the topic, we work too much. We work too much, and we should not have to work so much. Um, how do we get out of that? I think we have to. I think we have to live a very different life and disconnect from modern society. I think we need to learn how to live without some of the comforts of modern society. I think we need to learn how to make ends meet to a certain degree outside of the economic or monetary grid, if you know what I mean, so that you can do things for yourself and your family to put food on the table in a way where it's not taxed. Okay. Hold on. Uh, so, yeah. Okay. I'll just answer some of the questions here, and then I'll be finished. Do Norway care about the Super Bowl? No. Let's see. Yeah, I put Eric in a timeout. Edie, did I miss something here? Your milestone chat. Did I not get a notification up here? I'll just quickly scroll up. Sorry about that. Yeah. I'm sorry about that, but thanks for telling me. I forgot one other thing. Yeah. Okay. So with AI, my back. I'm going to a physical therapy session today, and I'm looking forward to that because now my back is really sore. But anyway, yeah. So okay. Wouldn't it be? I wasn't finished, by the way. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we were just given money and we didn't have to work? So let's look into this future where AI is doing all the work and robots are doing all the work for us. And since we don't have to work, the government will just give us money. Universal Basic Income, UBI. I'm not against the principle of UBI as long as it's more effective and healthier to people than the system we have now with unemployment, where people get support when they are unemployed and so on. But that's not how it's going to. It's not going to work like that. Of course, it's going to be. Yeah, Eric is in a timeout. It's not going to work like that. We also see this strange idea that big tech and politicians and people like that are promoting that yes, AI will take jobs, they will make some people unemployed, but it will create at least the equal amount of new jobs. Why is no? No, there isn't any natural law or law of the universe that when a new technology comes along, it will create an equal amount of jobs as the jobs that were lost because of that technology. That's not how it works. But I think that this idea that people will not be needed, so they will just be paid money by the state, I think it's a bit naive. That's not how it's going to work. So, just wanted to mention that. I just wanted to mention that. I think AI is not the answer. We're seeing AI destroying the livelihood for authors already, the livelihood for illustrators and artists and musicians. We are seeing that. And you have the surgically enhanced people I was actually informed there was a Grammy Awards yesterday or something, where these people they were celebrating themselves. And I think a lot of the crap that they're listening to was generated by AI. That's my guess. But they're still being used as, to some, pretty faces to promote that crap. So yeah, okay. Just wanted to add that. We'll get back to this. Have a wonderful day. I'm going to get my breakfast now, and hope you have a wonderful day. As I said, we'll talk soon.